Yes, AutoChief, new week, new car, Ghana, pay attention. It's your man, Dio Fair Japan, and I'm excited to be back. This week, I'm bringing you the latest updates as far as import duties are concerned. So, I'm going to use four popular vehicles: the Honda CR-V, Toyota RAV4, Mazda CX-5, and Mitsubishi Outlander. And I'm going to use the 2020 models. The reason is that almost every 2020 car is about 5 years in 2025, because some of the manufacturers, even though they would have bashed the vehicles 2020, a greater number were made in 2019. And when it comes to how Ghana, our import duty is assessed, when the vehicle is 5 years or more, your import duty is relatively less, because when it's 5 years or more, you get 50% depreciation, and that always helps. So I'm going to take my time, go through the available documents. But before we get there, if you are watching on YouTube and you've not subscribed, this is the time to do that. After, like this content when you see it, it helps for the content to travel. Also, share. Let your friends get to know AutoChief, so that when it comes to any information regarding vehicles, they will leave speculation and be on the side of information. So I appreciate you for watching, and I cannot forget my viewers and followers on TikTok. I appreciate you a lot. I like the activity. I like even especially my clients, the people who are moving from just followers to become clients, because they understand that AutoChief, I have the information, and as a business, I understand this business. So when they choose me, they know I'm going to be reliable. So I appreciate you all. So our first vehicle is going to be the 2020 Toyota RAV4. And we are going to zoom in on the XLE all-wheel drive trim. And so we are going to just see what the import duty is as of July 2025. And so let's go behind the computer. So yes, I've done the work. I've estimated the import duty. Like I've already shown you, I currently rely on Auto Duty Checker, which is a great tool, but currently it's free. And for those who have been asking me questions whether it's a reliable tool, I would say very much so, because it has all the variables that are used in computing the import duty. And one thing which is very important is updating the exchange rate, and they really are good at updating the exchange rate. So let's go through it. So yes, so this is the import duty for a 2020 Toyota RAV4, and this was generated on Friday, so today around 4:48 p.m. And the reason why I've chosen XLE is that, in fact, that's the model, or that's the trim that's sold a lot. So if even you are scanning the city or scanning Ghana to see which type of RAV4s are in Ghana, a lot of them are XLE. But I just decided to choose the all-wheel drive, because that would push the import duty a little up, and so that for those who bring the XLE without the all-wheel drive, yours might be a little less than this. So now let's see the import duty. As you can see, I've highlighted it. That's 63,055 Ghana cedis and 24 pesos. So that's some good information for you. So for all my followers who don't have a lot of time today, you know, if you intend to bring a 2020 Toyota RAV4, your import duties are approximately 63,000 Ghana cedis. Of course, after that, then you have to go and pay those relatively minor charges, handling charge. They call them shipping fees. Shipping line fees. That's always up. Then they also talk about container charges, and then your clearing agent, those other charges. But those are not major charges. The major charge for your car, if you are bringing a 2020 Toyota RAV4 is the import duty, the one that you pay to government. So that's around 63,000. And so, as highlighted, also you can see the trim XLE 4-door SUV all-wheel drive. And the reason why I like this car is that it comes with a 2.5 naturally aspirated engine, and it also has a traditional automatic transmission, 8-speed, the one that features a torque converter, so no CVT here. And the reason is that the torque converter automatic, that's the automatic the world has known for so many years. So most manufacturers, they've mastered that. So that's the reason why people prefer that over the CVT. Even though the CVT is also reliable, it's just that it requires a bit more maintenance. So you've seen the import duty figure, but I want you to understand this. You see where I've highlighted, I'm showing you depreciated amount. And this I've said on numerous occasions, that when the car is 5 years or more, the state will give you a depreciation of 50%. So here you can see the initial MSRP, which was 28,645,000 US dollars. Because there's a depreciation of 50%, it has been depreciated to 14,322 US dollars and 50 cents. So this is the figure that your import duty is going to be calculated on. So that's good. And the exchange rate as of today is $1 US equals 10.4352. So that's very current. And so you can see that. Now, where you see me with the red highlight is, where is our money going to when it comes to this import duty? What is making us pay relatively huge import duties, even though I must confess in 2025 July, relatively is manageable? Is the import duty for a petrol RAV4 is 10%. So you can see that gives you the 16,000 thereabout. And then you see the National Health Insurance Levy, that also takes 2.5. Then Get Fund, Ghana Educational Trust Fund, takes also 2.5. So yes, so those 2.5, so equal figures, 4,423 Ghana cedis and 96 pesos. And then there's the COVID Health Recovery Levy. Yes, the Minister of Finance has spoken about it, but until they are done with the VAT reforms before it will leave. But currently it still exists. But this is where our issues are. That 15% VAT, value added tax, that's huge. It hits you hard. So you can see the figure you pay is 28,136 and 40 pesos. So it's the highest. It's more than the import duty tariff itself, which is 10%. So yes, so there you have it. You know that as of today, or as of July, today is 25th July, if you import a 2020 Toyota RAV4, your import duty is around 63,000 Ghana cedis. And this also applies to every model of Toyota RAV4 that you import that is more than 5 years, including the one that is overage. But the only thing with the overage is that after the state gives you the 50% depreciation, they are also going to give you that penalty. So next is the 2020 Honda CR-V. And for this Honda, we are picking the EXL all-wheel drive trim. Why? Because the EXL is very popular in Ghana. Most people, when they are buying their CR-V, they want leather seating, they want some sunroof. So that's how come we are here. And so let's look at the narrow in on the import duty. So the import duty payable for the EXL, which is a higher trim than the comparative XLE from RAV4, is this one is 69,021 Ghana cedis and 72 pesos. So it's a little higher than the 63 that we found in the RAV4 XLE. But like I said, the EXL is more of a almost getting into the luxury side. So you can see the MSRP 31,550 US dollars, and so we will just check on the depreciation that it goes. But it's, like I said, it's 2020, and this one features the very popular 1.5 turbocharged engine that most people are excited about. That's the reason why these new Hondas have gained a proper audience in Ghana. So now let's check out the depreciation. Please stop. Yes, so as you can see on the screen, once again, the MSRP 31,550 US dollars. And so what depreciation, as I mentioned to you, because it's 5 years old, you are getting a 50% depreciation. So when you depreciate 31,550 by 50%, you are going to get 15,775 US dollars. And so this is the figure that your import duty is charged on. So the third vehicle is going to be a vehicle which is popular in recent times, and that's the Mazda CX-5. I'm actually sitting in a 2019 Mazda CX-5, but for the purposes of this work, I'm going to use a 2020. So let's look at the computer screen, and we are going to see a 2020 Mazda CX-5, and the trim we're going to use is Touring with all-wheel drive. The one I'm sitting in is 2019, but it doesn't have all-wheel drive. And so what's important here? What is important is our duty payable. So in July 2025, if you bring a 2020 Mazda CX-5 Touring with all-wheel drive, your import duty is going to be around 62,202 Ghana cedis and 88 pesos. Don't forget, if you bring a 2019 like the one I'm sitting in, and it also assuming that's also all-wheel drive, your import duty is going to be about the same, because like I always mention, the import duty calculation is based on the car's first purchase price, which manufacturers call manufacturer's suggested retail price. And so that's it. So yes, we've seen the duty to be around 62,000. 2020 is the year, Mazda CX-5, and the engine is a 2.5 liter, but it's naturally aspirated. Honda is not playing too much around the turbocharge, because Honda is a very small company. They want to be sure that their engines are reliable, so they don't really want to play around the turbocharge. I think they are more cautious, like Toyota is, in terms of moving to new technology. So yes, now let's look at some additional details. Yes, so the MSRP for the 2020 Mazda CX-5 Touring all-wheel drive is 28,230 US dollars. And so when we get to the next here, let's check. So there you see the MSRP is, once again, is here, 28,230 US dollars. And what depreciation are we getting? I've mentioned it to you. It's 2020, and we are getting 50% depreciation. So when the depreciated amount is 14,115 US dollars, and this figure is where the import charges, or the taxes and tariffs are going to be computed on. So there you have it. And the exchange rate as at today is $1 US is equal to 10.4352 Ghana cedis. That's what is being used by customs. So our fourth vehicle, which is going to be our final vehicle for today, is the 2020 Mitsubishi Outlander, and that's also a favorite of many. That vehicle is on our roads. So all the four, or in fact the previous three vehicles that I've talked about, the RAV4, you see a lot of them on the streets of Accra and in Ghana, period. Same for the CRV. In fact, as for the CRV, I know people who question whether the cars are so many, people will even assume Ghana assembles Honda CRVs. So that tells you the interest that people have for these cars. And then there's the Mazda CX5. People didn't really care about Mazda until this CX5. So it tells you that when you find great design and you find also reliability, no matter the brand, people can switch over. Now, the fourth, as I mentioned, is the Outlander, Mitsubishi Outlander. So let's see. Let's begin with the MSRP. The MSRP is 29,000 US dollars and 29,495 US dollars. But and yes, so let's come to the duty payable, 64,801. Yes, so if you see the vehicles that we've seen so far, in terms of a stretch or a range, the import duties is between 60,000 to approximately 70,000. So when you are planning with any of these vehicles, just plan. And for me, for planning, I always use the upper limit. So plan for a duty of about 70,000 Ghana cedis. If you are bringing a 2020 Toyota RAV4, Honda CR-V, Mazda CX-5, and Mitsubishi Outlander. As long as you are not picking the top trim, don't go and pick a CR-V, Sport Touring. Those ones, yes, they really are well spec vehicles. Their duties will obviously cross the 70,000. But let's move on. So 64,801 Ghana cedis and 3 pesos. So in terms of year is 2020. The engine for that, they also use a 2.4 naturally aspirated engine here, and the trim that we chose was SLE. So that's in Mitsubishi speech, that's quite a good trim. And so we have the 2.4 engine, but Mitsubishi uses CVT for fuel economy purposes, so that's also good. Now let's see the depreciation once again and its effect. So don't pay attention to the 29,495 because that is what is going to get the depreciation. So here we see the 29,495 US dollars being depreciated to 14,747 US dollars and 50 cents. And when this is the depreciated amount is where all these taxes are going to be calculated on. Pay attention to that. But for most people, I always say that that's not what you really care about. What you care about is the actual figure that you're going to pay, and that's what I've already told you or mentioned. And so here it's just for you to understand where how come you see the import duty figures that you see. And the biggest is always, most of the time, is around the import value added tax for most vehicles. It's only vehicles when they are petrol engines. If the engine is more than 3.0, that's when this import duty tariff will change to 20%. And also it also changes to 20% when it's hybrid or electric. But those are more a lot more detailed issues. So yes, you've seen the 15%, you've seen the 10%, 2.5. So yes, you have an idea. So in short, if you are bringing any of these vehicles that I've mentioned, the RAV4, the CR-V, the Mazda CX-5, Mitsubishi Outlander, and you're bringing one which is 5 years or more, your import duty is between 60,000 and 70,000. So this is good information. I know the people who watch AutoChief, when you come, you don't have a lot of time, so you just want to have the information sharp, and that's why today I took my time to bring it to you. So before I go, I say once again, if you've not subscribed, this is the time. Do please follow, like, share. Just help to spread the information about AutoChief. And so until next week when I see you, in fact, how can I forget my video director? I salute you. Gada, next week, Vidasi.